Hello and welcome back. Today we will be loading the landing layer of our sales pack. Stores would be dropping orders in the form of JSON files in the landing layer. We have to load those JSON files into the fact sales. The naming convention of the orders or the sales is in the form of order underscore run date underscore sequence.json. We have sequence in the JSON file name because there can be more than one order files present in the landing layer for the same run date. Let's go ahead and see one of the order JSON file example. I am in my JupyterLab environment. Let's look into the order files. We'll go into dataset, orders, and we'll open one of the JSON file. As you can see, orders is an array item which have 20 items. It means in the same array we have around 20 orders. Let's expand this. Let's expand the first order. We can see we have order date, order ID, invoice number, customer ID, store ID, and the system generated date. Again, we have order line items, which is also an array. We have around 6 items for this particular order. Let's expand one of them. As you can see, for this order line item, we have the product ID, the quantity, the tax, and the tax type is percentage. We have discount, which is also percentage, and the currency code is INR. As you can see, we have one more product ID for which we have quantity as 2. We don't have any tax. We have discount of 6, with discount type is INR, which is the absolute value, and the currency code is INR. As shown on the left side of the folder, we have the file name as order underscore 2022-0101 underscore 1 underscore 2. It means we can have more than one order files, and each order file can contain more than one orders for the same run date. I am inside the AWS S3 bucket for landing orders folder. As you can see, I placed both the order JSON files inside this folder for data load. This is the sales landing IPython notebook. Most of the code of this notebook would be similar to that we have been using in our previous sessions. But we have few changes in this notebook as we are reading JSON data now. Let's figure out those changes by running each cell one by one. We are importing the required libraries and the utility functions here. As usual, we have configured our job parameter, which will get the run date, which is 2022-0101. We'll be loading data into the fact sales landing layer, and we'll be reading all the JSON files from the landing folder. So our name of the landing file is order underscore run date underscore star, which will read all the sequences of the files. This is the landing location on our AWS S3 bucket. Let's generate our Spark session. Let's import the required Spark configs. Now we will be reading our JSON file from the landing location. We will be using multi-line as false and format as text. Let's validate our data. As you can see, we have read the orders file into one column called value. Let's add the insert date as an audit column in our data frame. And now let's write the data into the landing layer. The data is written into the landing layer. Let's archive our file that are present in the landing layer. The files are archived. Let's go back in AWS and validate the same. Let's refresh this folder. See, the files are gone. Let's go in archive and validate. The files are present in the archive directory. Let's update our job control now. Let's validate the job control. Now we'll see the delta metrics and generate the Symlink manifest file. Before we close this session, let's validate our data in the landing layer. As you can see, we are reading each file content in one line. We are storing all the JSON and order information in one of the column called value. We are adding insert date and run date, which are the audit columns. In the staging layer, we will be expanding this value column and will be exploding our data, get the orders data for our fact sales. Let's stop the Spark session. Today we completed the landing layer load for our fact sales. In the next video, we would be expanding the value column, which contains the order data, to the corresponding columns in the staging layer. Keep learning, keep growing, keep sharing.